just warming up the CL as usual. I think it's ready, so I'll see you down the road. Yes, welcome back and thanks for being with me again. And today, this is the first day I've been out since Storm Babette. Which way should we go? We'll go up this way. Yes, since Storm Babette hit the UK and caused lots of problems, so I'm not going to go too far into the countryside today. I can imagine there's a little bit of debris around. Yeah, Storm Babette, it's weird, isn't it? Because they always name storms now. The only Babette I ever knew was a lady that I worked with. She was a nurse actually, and I worked alongside her, and she was the most laid back and quiet and inoffensive person I think I've ever met in my life. So when I heard that the storm that was coming was called Babette, it really didn't jive with me at all. I thought of all the names to call a storm, but anyway, it certainly caused some issues. And lots of flooding locally. But hopefully we'll avoid most of that today. Just out to the calf today. Ooh, that tree's a bit low, isn't it? Yeah, out to the calf as usual today. I just thought I'd bring you along with me. Yeah, today I wanted to speak about why we ride motorcycles. Now it's a well-worn subject actually, isn't it? Because that's why I've never actually spoken about it before, but I was watching some videos that people have made on the subject. Kingsford Lane closed for access. Yeah, thought it might be. So obviously the usual road we go on is closed, so we'll go this way. Yes, I was watching some videos on the subject of why we ride motorcycles, and I don't want to be controversial at all, but quite a lot of them I just thought, oh, what a load of old tosh, to be honest. They're all a bit, you know what I mean? It was all about freedom. Freedom was the word, it was the buzzword of every single video. Now, I understand that, I get what they're on about, but is freedom really why we ride motorcycles? Does that really sum it up in one word? Not in my opinion at all, actually. It's a tiny factor, but no, I think that's a really well-worn thing. There's lots of videos which show sunsets and people in fantastic places pointing at things for some reason on their motorcycles. Stood around in wonderful scenery pointing at distant objects. You've seen the pictures, you know what I mean, and all that sort of tosh. And I just thought, let's do a video about what it's really about. What is motorcycling really about? Freedom. I mean, you can get freedom by walking, can't you? You can go for a walk and feel completely free. I mean, you haven't even got a motorcycle to worry about, you've just got your legs, and you can wander off into the countryside and be as free as you like. You can jump into a car and drive anywhere and be free. So I don't think that's really what the bottom line is. And the way I see it, you have this amazing invention that humans have invented, and it's called the internal combustion engine. And you could bolt that internal combustion engine to a number of things, a frame of some sort, so that you can then sit on that frame, whether it have 4 wheels or 2 or 3, and you can then propel yourself through the countryside, or anywhere else for that matter, at great speed, a greater speed than as a pedestrian you could ever dream of. And I think that lies at the base of why we love motorcycles, because this thing here, this throttle, first of all, it's in my hand, not on my foot as it is in a car. And your hand is the most sensitive thing that we have, isn't it? The sense of touch. To me, it's that critical and basic connection between our hands and the internal combustion engine. Twist the throttle, instant response, because the bike is relatively light compared to a car, and it gives you that raw, basic, guttural connection between you and this incredible thing called an internal combustion engine. For me, that is the crux, the basis of why we love motorcycles. Add to the fact, of course, that a two-wheeled machine can do this, can turn and move almost as agilely as we can as a human being. It's not as agile, obviously, as a person. We can sort of stop on a dime and we can turn, and I'll just overtake these actually. I'll show you what the CL can do here. Can we take both of them? Yeah, I think we can. There we go. See the old CL. Can still do overtakes. Reduce speed now. Okay. Yeah, it's the agility the two wheels gives you, allied to that basic connection between us and the internal combustion engine, that power. It's that guttural feeling. That is what is the pure raw sensation of motorcycling, that is addictive, that draws us back. And I think, forget about freedom and being able to ride off into the sunset and the wind in your hair, which is another thing I often hear on these things, and the wind in your face and the wind in your hair. Well, have you not heard of helmets? There's not much wind in my hair at the moment. In fact, I'm trying to stop the wind being in my hair as much as I can. As you can see, there's a bit of rain, water flooding across the road there, and this is a couple of days after Babette's been, by the way. Yeah, so for me, that is the critical thing. A motorcycle gives you, more than any other vehicle, that instant connection. Oh, here we go. There's some cones. Great. Is that guy waving me on? I think he is. Yeah, instant connection between ourselves and an internal combustion engine, and that ability to propel ourselves through the scenery. That is what it's all about. It's really that simple. It's not about some psychological nonsense about freedoms. Of course it gives you that sense of freedom, but that's secondary. It's secondary to the basics, the basic gut feeling that a bike gives you. And as I said, the agility as well. A car can give you that sense of acceleration, that sense of power, but nowhere near as much or as instantly or as directly as a bike can. Because traditionally, of course, motorbikes can out-accelerate cars. I mean, that is becoming probably a little bit less of a thing now, theoretically, with the enormous torque and ability of electric cars. But sat in a cage, sat inside a car, you're never going to get that instant feeling. And as the throttle is controlled by your foot, which is less sensitive than the hand, it's never going to feel the same, is it? So there you go. It's really, to me, it's that simple. What do you think? Do you think I'm onto something there? But you may say what you think in the comments. But I think that's fundamentally what it is. Am I just being a bit of a barbarian and not very psychological about it? So the other thing, of course, is that it takes us back to our childhood. I think there's that connection with 95% of us. Our first time that we ever felt the freedom, if you want to call that, or use that word, of having a means of transport other than our legs was, of course, when we learned to ride a bicycle. And at the end of the day, a motorcycle is a motorised bicycle. So it takes us back to our childhood, doesn't it, as well, I think. And if you loved riding your bike around as a kid, as I did, and I couldn't keep off it, I was on it all the time. That feeling of speed that a push bike gives you over and above walking and running everywhere. When you're a kid, that is an eye-opening, eye-popping moment, isn't it, when you first feel the wind in your hair, you tear along at 12 miles an hour on your push bike. It's an absolute thrill, and you never forget that. You never forget that initial thrill. And the motorcycle is the adult alternative to that, isn't it? It's taking that deep-seated feeling and multiplying it by 100 for our adult minds. Just as I'm reduced down to 40 miles an hour. So that's what it is to me. It's the engine connection, the connection with the hand, and reminding us of childhood, reminding us of our push bike origins. That's the magic of biking for most people, I think. Now, I'm not saying that whole freedom thing is not a factor to a certain extent. It is, but you can get freedom in so many other ways, as I've said before. I mean, probably the greatest freedom you can have is to put a caravan on the back of your saloon car and drive off into a field somewhere, isn't it, and live there for a bit, if you want freedom. And yet there's nothing more different from a motorcycle than a car. I'm simplifying it, I know I'm simplifying it. But there you go, that's my assessment of why we ride motorcycles. Well, I seem to have survived Storm Babette and what it's left us. Not too bad. Only a couple of little bits on the road that has obviously been affected. But my gosh, I can certainly feel the cold in the air now. The temperatures are really dropping. I've got layers and layers of clothing on. And obviously the worst of the winter is by far yet to come. So there, I'm not too sure how I was going to title this video. Depends how much I think I can get away with. I might use a word, which I really want to use a word, and I'd need to asterisk some of the letters out. But whether I'm brave enough to use that or not, I don't know. I'll see. So whatever's brought you here to watch this video, I don't know what word I'll have used in the title. See how brave I've been. You already know that because you will have already seen the thumbnail, of course. So there we go, we're at the cafe. It's time for tea or coffee. Time to warm my hands up. My hands are freezing. That's all from me. Thanks so much for being with me again today. Oh, there's a few brave bikers out, well done. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. I'll see you soon.